Hey everybody, what's going on? This is Gene here with the Hero Academy, and this week I have a special new interview for you where I have sat down with Alex Nimohans of the Foolies. It is a clothing line company that he started and he co-founded with a partner, and what I wanted to do was sit down with him to understand what inspired him to get the business started, and also to understand all the different ways that he has leveraged using influencers, celebrities in Hollywood, and just putting himself in the right position at the right time to promote his brand and to get that brand recognition, not just popular within the local community here in Florida, but as well as around the world. And so between that as well as his business acumen, I really want to share with you and understand about how diligent and consistent that he's been with creating videos every week, creating mailing lists almost several times a week, among a whole bunch of other things that he's doing on a regular basis to continue to get his brand out there and really get people to know about his product, and also to promote his inspiring messages that he does on a weekly and regular basis. So without taking any more time, I want to get right into this interview, and hope that you guys enjoy it. Thanks. Hey everybody, what's going on? This is Gene here with Design Theory, and I have a special guest with me tonight, Alex Nimohans from the Foolies. He is on. You've probably seen him multiple times on socials, especially on Facebook on Fridays with his Foolie Fridays, let alone with all the different things that he does on Instagram with his clothing line and his inspirational posts. What I wanted to do is sit down with Alex and kind of talk about how he's able to really stay so consistent for so long as he has been across so many different platforms, let alone some other things that you may or may not know about Alex. But before I get into all of that, let me take it all the way back to the beginning. Alex, thank you for being with me. Tell those who don't know about you, who are seeing you for the first time, who you are, what you do, and what you stand for.
Well, I stand for justice and love and peace. So that's one.
For sure.
I am a goofy guy, kid out of Miami, Florida, who's just always had big dreams that just inspire others to go after it, be great, change the world, a whole nine. And back in the day, that was a silly thing to have a dream or a goal. It was doctor, lawyer, scientist. Nothing wrong with that, but that was the goal. That was what was kind of pressed upon me. So right. I'm a UF grad. I did my first degree in sports medicine, ended up pivoting my whole career around, got into the entertainment, media, and art space field. So got another degree, 2 more degrees from Full Sail, doing audio, doing graphic design. I've just always been this kid with this crazy idea. Nice. And, another crazy concept I came up with was this clothing company called Foolies, which are people who are so foolish to chase their goals and dreams that they're called fools for trying to do so. And so this was like an idea that got, placed upon me about 8 years ago when I was doing music with a good friend of mine, my brother of another color, Illy K. And, we've got some cool stuff, some features on OWN Network, SN, Gary Vaynerchuk's new book, Crushing It, which dropped last year, January. So it's just been a lot, and I'm just very blessed, very fortunate to be able to, inspire somebody to keep going.
Right. I like that you coined your own phrase with Foolies and actually created a business out of it, created a company name out of it. I really do admire that, man. I don't know how long it took you to come up with the idea, because I know for a lot of us coming up with business names, let alone social media handles, that could be days, if not weeks, to finally come up with something that you really like, It
was a joke. It was like, man, we're so foolish because we were rapping. I was a rapper. My boy Illy K is an engineer. Yeah. So we kind of was like this Batman Robin kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And so it was like, man, we're foolish to do this. Like, we got traditional career goals, sports medicine. He was doing journalism. And it was like, this is stupid. This is not smart. This is going against what we're supposed to have done this college. We're doing this college thing wrong. And it was kind of like, this is foolish. Man, we some fools, we foolies, you know what I'm saying? And it kind of just ended up kind of being that. And then when I would start my songs, it would be me saying, Foolies, it's the movement, and that's kind of my thing. Okay. And then that became a concept, and then we're like, why don't we put this on a shirt? Yep. We ironed the word Foolies onto a dirty white shirt, would put it on me, take a photo, take it off, put it on a homeboy, take it off, put it back on. So I call it the Damon John effect, where he put a lot of his FUBU stuff on people before it got big, and then took it off, was like, can I get that back?
Yeah.
And then kept doing that until people were like, hey, can I get one? And it's like, you sure you want this? You know, and then kind of watching it grow from there.
So actually, that's a good thing to kind of get into here. These days, you know, a lot of people are trying to come up with, you know, their own brands and trying to get their brand seen, you know, in the mainstream. You know, whether it's in fashion, whether it's in sports, you know, whatever. I don't want to tell the story, but I definitely want you to tell a story about how you got your shirts, the ones that have like all the sayings, you know, going down. Like we've got Nicole at least bought 2 of them because she bought one for herself and one for her sister, and those I thought were, and I know now you've got, you know, plenty more, but that shirt I felt like, you know, really. I say transcended the continent, man. It just went everywhere, and you were able to get it in front of and get it on some really big celebrities, man. How did you do that? How did that work out? And tell us, you know, how that came to be.
So a lot of this conversation that Gene's getting into is really just stroke of luck, to be really real. So we put out a shirt a couple years back. With a couple key phrases, and I want to just at least kind of look it up while I'm talking with you so I don't misquote it, because it's a lot of names on the shirt. We have a couple iterations of the shirt as well, so I'm just kind of pulling up a page. But
basically, more than one iteration of it? I thought it was just the one.
Nah, it's others. Yeah, but they've kind of just yeah. So there's a big devious plan here.
I see.
So the shirt that Gene is referencing is called the Be Inspired Tee. We dropped that back in 2015, if I'm not mistaken. And what happened was I watched Viola Davis and Regina King speak at the Emmys, or it was like one of those academies, Emmys, one of those things. So I watched it the morning after the event, and I was just so inspired and so motivated and so lifted, and I just started crying because I'm like, man, all these girls want is to be seen. All they want is an opportunity. All they want is just something to say, hey, we're here and we're seen and we're felt.
Right.
And so just with the graphic, you know, it wasn't any shirt stuff yet. On the graphic, I had a phrase of all these dope black women in Hollywood. So the full shirt, which I'll read to you, says, be strong like Regina, be fierce like Taraji, write like Shonda, shine like Lupita, deliver like Uzo, speak like Viola, age like Angela, rule like Queen, walk like Carrie, lead like Ava. And so that was the full shirt. After like the posts we made went viral, and this really big social media lady, her name's Levia Jai, she shared it to her page. Her fans loved it. That ended up having her reach out to me and say, make this into a shirt. So we used Teespring. That's my site that I use to, you know, not my personal site, but, you know, the site that I use to sell the shirts. And then I got reached out to the following couple months, maybe somewhere around like February-ish, by Essence. And they saw these shirts. They saw that it went viral. They wanted to use it for all women's choir at their event called Black Women in Hollywood. Didn't even know this event existed. And this was like the 7th or 8th annual event. So I'm like, are you telling me this has been going on for years and just I didn't even know about it?
Heard about it, yeah.
So we were able to like get them shirts in a quick turnaround. I had just switched the t-shirt company I use. I used Metropolis to print all the graphics. They actually shipped it out for me. They went above and beyond, and you know that opened up the door to that being sent to them. And then the young ladies at the event wore these shirts on stage, so they got it to an all-female choir, and it was cool to some extent because okay, cool. These girls were at the very end of the show, and so they saw, you know, everyone saw the quotes on the front of the shirt saying what I just read to you guys, but my logo wasn't on the front; it was on the back of the shirt. So when I saw that, I was like, well, it's over. Like, yeah, you saw the front, but you didn't see the back, so you don't really know who made it. That could have been anybody. That could have been Essence.
It's a good way to think about it. Yeah.
So it was tough and it sucked. So I was like, you know, I was still excited. I was actually watching the show because I didn't have a TV at the time. I was watching the show through my homegirl Skype. So she had her phone propped up so I could watch the show.
Wow.
So I could see if the shirts made it. And then I was just like, all right, yeah. And I was like, oh, but they can't see the back.
Right.
So immediately after the show was over, I get a ping, like a notification. I'm like, okay, what's going on? And Shonda Rhimes had reposted shots of the girls wearing the shirt on her Instagram page, and she also sent it to her Twitter feed, because you could do both, whatever.
Right.
So that was just like, take my money, oh my God, where did you get this, blah, blah, blah. And then one of the girls who had the shirt on at the event was the daughter of this famous singer, gospel singer named Erica Campbell. So her daughter had on a shirt at the event. So at the event, she was so happy that her daughter got to sing on national television, and she was posting pictures of her daughter with celebrities. Keke Palmer, Tracy Ellis Ross, just celebs in the shirt. So they weren't wearing it, but these girls were with them.
Right.
So it's almost like product placement.
Yes.
And then Erica kept posting the photos to her Instagram page. So every time people saw the photos, they're like, what is this shirt?
Right.
What did it? Oh my God. And then people started tagging me that knew me, like, oh, this is my friend Nemo, go to his page. Funny, I kind of ended up seeing Erica at Tom Joyner family reunion here in Orlando.
Nice.
And when I saw her, I was like, hey, kind of showed her the shirt. I had it on because I knew she was going to be there. And I was like, would you like a tee? And it was super cool. Got her a shirt. But what I did was, before I sent her a shirt, I just Googled what are Erica Campbell's favorite things, not knowing that anything was going to be on the web, but actually had somebody did this with her and had a whole list of things she loved.
No kidding.
Yeah, so apparently one of her things is like oatmeal pies and like Cheeto puffs or something like that. Huh. So like I wrote her a letter, handwritten letter, because this is what I did back in the day when I used to sell the shirts by hand. Packaged up all her favorite things, put a box of oatmeal pies and puffs in there, and like put a gift card in there, sent it off to her, and she ended up wearing it on her morning show. So like just thing after thing after thing after thing after thing. So, and it's, the reason why I got featured in Gary Vaynerchuk's book. They love that story so much that it got in the book. So
there's so much to unpack there. I definitely want to tap into the book, right? Because there's a segment there that I want to get into, and I want to kind of build up to it. So we're going to put a pin in that one for just a second. But let's go back into your strategy for getting your product in front of people and using social media to kind of let that ride, right? I think that it was ingenious to get that out there. I definitely think that in a lot of cases, whenever starting a business, it's a lot of luck, right?
Yeah,
it's a lot of luck about being in the right place at the right time, whether it's for a networking event, putting your product to market at the right time when the climate is looking for it, cross promoting with somebody else, so that way you're bringing it onto their platform and exposing that that whether it's a product that solves a problem or it's a luxury, whatever that it is. Timing has a lot to do with it. Yes. And so I think that a lot of people aren't always thinking about that. And I think, matter of fact, if anything, I almost want to say you probably were into the influencer marketing side of things well before it was even a term, because getting your shirts on people who are influencers, or at least around influencers, ends up creating a buzz. And then that buzz, because we're used to the common brands, we know all the big brands, but when you see something that stands out, it's like kind of talks to you, resonates with you, and then it's on somebody who you already are familiar with. It's like, why don't I have this? Why don't I know about this? And it creates this fear of missing out type of thing. How did I miss that? Like you said, like I didn't even know this event was happening, and it's the 7th or 8th one. It's been going on for this long. I didn't even know about it. People are looking at this like, I didn't even know that. So like, I think that's something that I definitely want everybody who's watching this is to take back and like think about how can you uniquely and creatively get your product in front of people in the way that it's genuine, but at the same time uses their platform to expose where you are. And I think that's fantastic.
And the reason why it worked was because it was right after the Emmys. You know what I'm saying, initially.
Sure.
So that was perfect timing.
Sure.
Because people were watching the Emmys. It was current that morning. And then Viola and Regina, they had won awards that they were, everything was going on with like Oscars and Academies, not really like, highlighting, African Americans and all kinds of stuff. So it was like, man, like me just sitting in my room, like, what could I do? You know what I'm saying? Like, and so anybody who's watching it, like, if that's where your heart is, if you can follow the timing and pay attention to what's going on, some people are like, oh, I don't want to follow trends. But that's life. Like, you having a car is a trend. You know what I'm saying? Like, we used to ride horses. You know what I'm saying? Like, we used to have landline phones. You getting a cell phone is a trend.
Right.
It's just a more well accepted trend. You know what I'm saying? So we're not tripping.
Sure.
But trends is how you survive. And the people like maybe a Kodak, a Polaroid, who didn't follow the trends were like, nope, we're not ever gonna digital cameras, DSLRs. No way.
Right. Now no one's going to want to spend that kind of money on a digital photo. No.
Now those companies, if you mention Kodak to a kid, they might think you're talking about the rapper.
Right. Yeah.
they're definitely not going to think you're talking about.
Isn't that crazy though? When a new brand takes over and an old multi-billion-dollar brand is like, that's gone now. That's what you're thinking about. That's crazy.
So, but it's trends. Trends are important. I saw a trend of this audience of black women not being served. So I said, let me give them roses while they can still smell them and honor them with a shirt. Because, the only time we seem to highlight people is when they leave this earth.
For sure.
So in my head, I'm like, and the crazy part is like, we've had maybe 2 or 3 other iterations of this shirt. And the tough part is like, one, we're listing the black women on the shirt, but it's like, this is still a very small list. You know what I'm saying? And that's also crazy too. Like it's a lot of names on the shirt.
Yeah.
This list is still small. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm hoping. So my hope and my goal, even with that essence of that shirt dropping, was I'm exposing people to black women in Hollywood. Because I've had people reach out to me and say, do this shirt. Why don't you do this? Put this on this. And I'm like, no.
Everybody's got an opinion. Yeah.
I don't need to do another shirt for this audience or this size group or this height of people. Like, no, this is where my heart is. This is where I'm focusing on. And it's opened up amazing doors. And even though my other iterations, just being honest with your, platform, they didn't go as viral. They didn't make me buku money. But they did get me into a lot of great conversations with some of these industry pros. And now when I get into the room with like C-list, maybe like D-list, even some of the B-list celebs, they're like, hey, I've seen that shirt.
Yes.
And that's all I need. You know what I'm saying? All I need is that people know we exist. Because all the signs and the lights end up pointing back to the right thing. Yep. Which would be what I'm doing over here in my small little camp. Right. In my small little group and making moves.
Right. So let's go ahead and pick up that tidbit from before about you getting in touch with Gary and being part of, getting a segment in his book. Now, Gary's a New York Times bestseller already with his previous books. So now with Crushing It, and you having a segment in Crushing It, I thought was amazing because, I already own a couple of his books, including that one. And so, before I even got it, and I was planning on getting it, but then when you told me, he was like, man, look, I'm in the book, man. I was like, oh, I'm definitely getting it now. But I know the story, but again, reiterate the story and how you got there and how that worked out.
So Gary, at this point, I was watching like all of Gary V's content. I just finished reading his book, Crush It, which is the first installment. And what happened was Gary put out a call. He said, if you've read my first book, Crush It, email me. I'm going to pick 48 people to be in my new book. And all right, cool. I emailed him. I said, hey, my name's Alex Nemo Hans. Nemo is my nickname. I got back in college, whatever. I read your book, and I told him that your book confirmed all the things that I already knew. But I needed to read these confirmations for me to make a move. Right. And so, I wasn't acting like this was some I never heard this before. I was like, your book was as if I wrote a letter to me, at 40, 50, and let's say I'm a billionaire and I'm successful. Right. That book would have been my letter to my 20-something-year-old self, 26, 27-year-old self. after I read that book, every confirmation was there, and I was like, I need to give more. I need to help more. I need to put myself out. I need to just like show love on these platforms.
Yeah.
And so I just sent him all of that, like, hey, this is what your book did for me. It landed me an opportunity as in essence on network. All these high end people shared it. Boom, 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 and then fast forwarding, they liked it. They said they were going to reach out to me. So I guess like the ghostwriter for the book messaged me and was like, hey, how does June 28th sound? And I was like, June 28th sounds amazing because that's my birthday.
That's right. That's right.
So when they reached me, or when they had that interview with me that day to actually hear the verbal story of all of this, I was actually in a hostel in New Orleans because I was going to Essence Fest. Because my goal was to meet some of the people from Essence Fest who might have had a part or a role into helping my shirt get featured. And it was also on my 30th birthday. So on my birthday, I usually ask for a request for $1. So people gave me $1. My best friend helped me with the flight. And a few other people shot me some money here and there. So literally my friends and people on my birthday funded my trip to New Orleans. Funded my Uber rides that weekend. They didn't even know it. They have no clue. They got me in rooms that they just didn't even know. So I'm literally in a hostel. Like, I ended up staying with a friend, but I was in a hostel ready to try to book a reservation, and I'm sitting in this hostel talking to this lady on this phone about this shirt and the Foolies brand and how I used to package letters up for people and how I just want to inspire people. And I made this podcast show, and the podcast show was all about helping people see their dreams without limitations. And I was doing this and this, and so I was spitting like it was like I was spitting game to a girl or something. It was like I need her to know all the things that's inside my soul,
right?
Because I want this book. If it goes in the book, I want it to be impactful. I want it to be authentic. I want it to be genuine. And so I kept it raw, kept it honest. I just laid everything out on the table. And they said that she said she loved the story. She said it was great. She was like, "Oh my God!" And you got it where and featured on what? And this happened. And now you're in New Orleans at the. Oh my gosh! So all of that's in the book. But I didn't even know if it made it. Because, like, they told me and they featured or they interviewed me, but it could have still, hey, sorry, Gary changed his mind.
Right.
You cut a couple chapters out. Sorry, you didn't book. So it wasn't until months after. So they interviewed me on my 30th. I think that was 2017-esque because the book came out 2018. And then I didn't hear, the book didn't drop till January of like 2018. So this was a long wait because I sent the email. That first email was like 2017, I think, ish. Late 2017. Got the interview 2018. Late 2016. Got the interview something 2017. Like 2018. It's just all one big kind of and I got a DM from a random guy. He was like, "Yo, read your chapter and crushing it. Incredible." And I was like, what? And so the book didn't come out yet. So Gary had sent the book to influencers to read the book and review the book.
See that?
And so he saw my story, messaged me, and I was like, it made it.
That's funny that it would go out to a couple people before it even went out to those that contributed to it.
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
That's awesome, man. I listen. I know that at the time too. I think we both were talking about Gary Vee and following a lot of what he was doing. Excuse me, a lot of what he was doing because we found a lot of what he was saying was very inspirational. Like you said, a lot of what he says isn't necessarily new that we don't know, but when you hear it again, and especially the way that he delivers it. It just forces something in you. It pushes an emotion. It reminds you. It gives you that feeling of this fervor. It's like this urgency. I got to get this done. Or I said I was going to do this and I didn't do it. Or I forgot about that. Yeah, I do have this in the tuck that I was going to do. And whatnot. And so I always like that about his delivery. So with that being said, though, let me ask you this because I like how he put out the book and did what he did with there, but to go back, that's not what he normally does. Like, that's not his thing. He's kind of like a jack of a lot of trades. That's not his background. Just like you, that's not necessarily your background. You're creative in a lot of ways. And I definitely want to get into the Foolies Fridays thing after this part, but it kind of leads to it. How do you tap into the things that you're great at or that you're good at, and then still stay consistent with everything else? Like, how do you know? It's like, all right, like, for example, we just, but known to those that are watching, we just really started working together in terms of like using your music that you produce in the videos that I create, so I could use them as background stuff. And I'm like, I didn't know that I should have been asking you about this stuff. And you're like, yeah, I used to create music left and right. I used to rap. I used to do this. And I'm like, what? Because I didn't know you back then when you were doing that, and I didn't know you were, doing the music production, even though, you went to school for that. And I don't know why the two and two didn't click, but it's funny because there's a lot of people, there's a lot that I want to unpack here, but there's a lot of times that we are around a lot of people who are very creative or who know how to do things, but if they don't talk about it, we don't know. And if they don't mention or if we don't ask, then they don't know to offer. Or, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So for me, I feel like you have so many trades that you're a jack of, right? And you can tell me if you're an ace of any of those, but how do you juggle, being so creative and being so able to do so many different things?
So, great question. The real answer is I don't know.
I needed you to tell me how you know, man, because that way I can figure it out, because I don't know. I keep hearing jack of all trades, ace of none, like it's a bad thing, but at the same time, I'm starting to hear maybe it's not. I don't know. What's your take on it?
So my thing is that my goal and my purpose on the planet, I think God gave me, was to inspire and encourage other people, to really remind them how great they are.
Right.
And so how I look at all the things I do, the jacks, I guess, if you will, or the trades, not the jacks, but all of these things all empower that one goal.
Right.
And so what people see as this jacks of many trades, that's not my purpose. Like, my purpose is to inspire people, just encourage them, uplift them, whatever. That's the goal. So that's what I'm working on all day, every day.
Okay.
All this other stuff is vehicles to do that. You know what I'm saying? And that's really all it is. And so nothing is a extra, or like, man, you do so much. Is like, does it all serve this one goal? Yes. Does it all serve this goal to uplift people? Yes. Does it all go back to empowering people? Yes. And so we're human beings. We like many things. Something simple. If you like candy, you don't just like one candy. You like M&Ms. You like Skittles. You like Starburst. You like other things.
Yep.
Nobody's upset that you're a jack of trades and it comes all candies. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's like, man, you like 12 different styles of candies?
Right.
That's ridiculous. You should only like one. No, that's not human. Like, that's not us. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's crazy. One day, me and my boy was walking through Lake Eola. And it's a park here in town, for those who don't know. And in this park, they have statues of different authors and people who have done amazing things. So it's like Plato and a few other people. I don't know all the names. But me and my buddy looked at the plaques, and all of their plaques said author, scientist, teacher, aeronautical this, engineer, boom, boom, boom. And we're like, wait, so Plato gets to have 8 different career paths? But I want 8 paths? And now I look like I'm crazy?
See that?
When the Aristotles and the Platos and the Socrates were authors and scientists and teachers and musicians, this and that. I'm like, no.
Good point, man.
If these guys have 12 different tasks and paths and cross and all this, I'm going to have 15. I'm going to die with all these all these scars on me from all the things that I've done. So I dance, I rap, I perform, I host. Like, give me all the things, because this is how, like, those Stoics and those people live their life. Is like, no, I can, from a faith standpoint, I can do all things through the Christ that strengthens me. So I think that applies to your talents. I think if you have multiple talents, you can use all of them in the season that it's supposed to be used in. So if you want to break that down even more, imagine yourself as a Netflix show. Season 1 might be, the music. Season 2 is the photography. Season 3 is the videography. Season 4 is public speaking.
I like
season
it.
5. And so season 10
Yep.
is, wow, look how all of this stuff made this grand finale. So when I'm actually on a stage in a Madison Square Garden or thousands and thousands of people listening to my every word, how did he do all of this? Well, it was season 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And now we're at season 10 of his journey or his craft.
Yep.
And now he's the man. I just had to realize, like, I'm not going to sit here and fight all these things I want to do anymore. I'm not going to be like, oh, well, I do this and I do that. And once again, it's seasons. So I hadn't produced music in a couple years. I just consumed music. I listened to all these things. I was almost building up my consumption reservoir or whatever you want to kind of dub it as. And well, it was time. It was time. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've been speaking forever. You know what I'm saying? Like, just through friends, at poetry nights, at events.
Sure.
Now that people see me speaking, this is 10 years of running my mouth in crowds, freestyle battles, you know, in front of all these people and getting over the fear constantly, month after month after month. 10 years of rapping and performing and speaking, being in a fraternity where I'm the step guy and I'm leading the step routines and I'm strolling in front of massive audiences. Everybody missed all of that stuff. And then they see me here and, man, Nemo. And I'm like, bruh, if you would have saw me in year 1, my first rap that I ever wrote, it was like, I come in multiples of 3, Jigga is my name, but Alex is who I actually be. And that would not get me a rap signage. You know what I'm saying? That wouldn't get me signed by no label.
Sure.
That was back in the 6th grade. I am 32. That was like a decade or 2 ago.
Sure.
But since the 6th grade, I've rapped, I've freestyled, I've continued at it, I've honed my skill. I've literally dipped into other industries just to help the rapping part get better. Every time I jumped in a new industry, I learned new punchlines or whatever. So like being a sports medicine grad,
more exposure.
Being a sports medicine grad, I remember I said I don't curse in my rap. So I remember saying like in a line, you know, I talk more ish than a catheter. And then I kind of learned that, like, that's a thing in the medical field that stores your boo-boo. Yeah. So, like, now I'm able to use that as a metaphor when I rap.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, everything that I've done also gives me another story, gives me another conversation. And then, you know, to be really real partial of it might be because I'm, like, 5'6". And so when you're short, you know, you got to come up with some different talent.
For sure.
Like I don't got the full beard like you. You know what I'm saying? I'm tall, so I gotta tap dance. I gotta rap. I gotta sing. I gotta be able to finesse and charm a woman. So she be like, he not that tall, but he sure is funny.
Yeah.
You know,
He
can rap.
Yeah.
You know? So I gotta build up all these other things. At least so I thought. You know what I'm saying? I had to build up all these things, which once again all end up leading to the main goal, which is I just want to encourage people. I don't care how I do it. I don't care what vehicle I use, whether it's clothing, my words, me talking to people in person. I got another platform, I'm using it. I got another way to do rapping, I'm using it. I can do it through clothing too. Boom. I can do it through videography. Boom. I can do it through photography.
Do it.
Let's go. So everything is like, let's run it.
I wouldn't have thought of it the way that you did. That's very, very profound. I want to kind of rewind on that where you said that all of these things, all of these jacks of trades, all go towards the one purpose that I have, right?
Yeah.
And so I wouldn't have thought of it that way because prior to you saying that, and that, by the way, gem. That's like a key right there, you know, because it's almost liberating for me because for so long. Really, even currently, for so long, I have just been struggling with that. Where it's like, man, I can do a lot of these things pretty good, but I'm not the best at this. Like, I'm not known specifically for this. You know, I could be around somebody and I've got a camera in my hand. Like, oh, you do photography? Yeah. Do you do this? Yeah. And then I'll go the next day and have like my laptop or whatever, and somebody walks up and says, oh, you build websites? Yeah. Oh, okay. Do you do this? Yeah. And then, through conversations later on, like, well, I didn't know you did that. Well, I know I don't really talk about it in that way. And so I never really thought about all of those things being something that could ultimately be towards a main goal for me. And now I've got to go back and do a little bit of soul searching to figure out like what is that main goal for me, so that way I can realign all of those things, so that way to make sure that they are going towards that. So for all of you guys that are watching, what is your main goal? For those of you that have a lot of skills that may not be all in the same, or maybe you don't have just one that's just the main skill, but you have several of them. I think that's great. If it all goes towards the one main goal, that's everything. Then that justifies everything that you want to know. If you want to add more, and I definitely didn't go back. And next time I'm in Lake Eola, I will be looking at these plaques because I didn't read them to see that they were said that, and that's also kind of like reaffirms what you said too. That's why I said like it's such a gem. That was great. It really was. It really was, man. I could lead off on that. I could end off on that. And be like, I'm good. I got what I need. Thank y'all. I'm out of it, but that's good. Okay, so I do have one more thing I want to talk to you about.
Before the Foolies Friday stuff. So
for sure, that's where I want to go, because for me, I can't tell you how impressed I am of how you're able to continue doing this every Friday without fail. I feel like it's a labor of love for you. But I'm impressed because you continue to do it. There's never like a set link. Sometimes you're up there, and you'll do something for 5 minutes. Sometimes you're there for 15 and more. But you always have something different to say. And as a creator, this is a multifaceted question. One, being consistent with it, how you're able to find the energy to get up and do that. Because I know me, and I can speak for probably a lot of people, it's like, all right, I've been doing this for 10 times or whatever. I'm about tired. I think I could skip this one. Or even the other person that may be thinking, well, I'm not really getting a lot of traction with this. So I don't have to do this every week. Maybe I'll do this every other week. Maybe I'll do this every other month because I'm not seeing the numbers that I want to see, because I'm looking for vanity metrics. For those that are thinking, okay, well, what can I possibly talk about this week? After 10, 20, 30, a year, 2 years of doing this, like, what can I possibly say that I haven't said already? So all of those things I really want to get into you for, because you continue to do this. And every time that I jump on Facebook and I'm like, how, Alex? Where? Sometimes I'm like, slow down, man. I mean, give us a break to where, show that you're human. And I just sometimes feel like you're not, because that's impossible in my mind. So tell me, man, all of those things, like how do you do it?
Well, I'm not doing a lot of things, so I'm not in the gym.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm not in the gym.
Okay.
Not watching all my favorite shows like I want to, what I'm saying? And I'm not that guy that's like, don't watch Netflix and all that stuff. But still, it could be a distraction if you do have a goal. So there's a lot of things that I'm not doing. I don't go out as much, as far as like, I used to be at a lot of networking events, and I used to try to serve every single person. And then I just realized I wasn't really serving myself. But those things of me, once again, it was a season. I had season 3. Season 4, it was me out, networking, talking to everybody, knowing the entire city of Orlando if possible. That was a season. Then I had a season where I didn't go outside. Then I had another season where I went outside a little bit, worked on content a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, once again, it's what's my season? Where am I? What am I doing?
That's good.
I had another season where I went back to school, got another degree. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't do all of this stuff at once. It was me running Foolies for 7.5 years, and like, man, I really need graphic design under my belt. I really want to, take off to the next level. And it's funny, I remember talking to my mentor. I love her to death. Don't tell her I love her though, but I love her to death. And I remember I told her like, it was something. I love Serena Williams. Serena Williams is like heaven on earth, whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Incredible. You need me to babysit, I got you.
For sure.
And her husband, hey man, no disrespect or shade.
Right.
Nothing.
Yeah.
I just be a part of y'all greatness.
Yeah.
So I remember telling her, like, I watched her. She did a thing on Vanity. On Vanity, she does this like 70 questions, or they do the 79 question things or whatever. So one of the things they asked her was like, if you could be a superhero, what would you be? She said, I would be Super Arena. And they kind of giggled and moved on to the next question. But I was like, oh, snap. What if I made her into a cartoon character and like drew her up and blah, 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 and then sent it to her after this episode? And I was like, I don't know how to draw. I don't know how to do graphics like that. So I reached out to my mentor before she was my mentor. I was like, oh, you're a graphic designer. I just saw Serena did this, da, 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 and you should do this, da, da, da. And she was like, why don't you do it yourself? And I was like,
there it is.
I'm going back to school. That's it. You know what I'm saying? Like, why don't you do it yourself?
Yeah.
Mr. Idea Guy. Yeah. Mr. You think you know it all.
Yeah.
Why don't you do it? One of those like TV moments. Why don't you do it? And you get in and it's like, wow, he's amazing. So a lot of that stuff is like how I picked up these crafts and hobbies and things of like, everybody needs to do this, this, and this, and this. And then everybody's like,
so be it.
Well, what you gonna make? Where's your book? Where's your YouTube series? You want to tell us how to do it? I noticed that with the organizations that I was in. I was trying to like pour into them like, hey, we should do this, we should do that. And it's like, where, that like is, I think it's like a GIF where it's like, like,
right.
What are you doing? So I was like, all right, cool. It's time to get back to me. New season, new episode. It's the Nemo Show. And it's back to every Friday. Every day I wake up, we write in these emails. I heard a powerful message from Seth Godin where he said, they asked him, what's the one thing that changed your life? He was like, I woke up every morning and I wrote. Boom. That's my actual mentor. I'm going to get up every morning and I'm going to write. It could be a sentence. I'm still writing something. Every Friday, I call it Foolies Fridays, just off of, alliteration. I think that's when you play off of whatever. So I was like, this forces me to have to put out content every Friday.
Yeah.
Whether I want to or not. And because I call it this, and I told my audience, this is what you get. And every week I ain't getting heavy views. Some weeks is 50. Some weeks is 75. Some weeks is 100. Some weeks is 400. Some weeks is 30, 20, 15, 5, 7, 12. Cool. But all of that stuff is adding up.
Yep.
This is what I'm doing, putting them up. Cool. Put them up. Yeah, another Friday. Video ain't hit. Cool. Step back again. Oh, that ain't hit. Cool. Boom. And eventually, one of these videos is going to hit the platform and totally light things up.
Yep.
And that's going to be, jumper number 10,552 or whatever the case may be.
The funny thing
that's all I care about now is putting up more jumpers. That's it.
The funny thing about that, though, is that when that jumper that does come from, like, let's say half court or whatnot, because you've been doing those half court jumpers for so long, not a problem for you, right? From 40 feet out, not a problem. But then that one jumper that you do, that be the one that like catches,
game-winning shot.
That's the game-winning shot, catches fire. Everybody's like, how did he do that? Nah, been doing it. Doing it.
And you just didn't see it. And the thing is, once again, if you know your season, you know when it's a season to pass the ball. You know when it's a season to just be the big man, keeping people out the paint. You know it's a season to ride the bench. You know it's a season to I gotta take the jumper.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So if you understand like this game is all about seasons, you ain't gonna be mad at nothing you do. You're gonna keep putting out, you're gonna keep creating. And so right now, this season that I'm in is bang them, hit them, keep throwing them out there, keep throwing daily emails, constant motivation. And so for me, my time is spent consuming Netflix content, reading books, going through, Stoics and philosophers, going through scripture, going through pastors' sermons, reading, consuming. Like a lot of this stuff is just consumption. Some days I'll just look up motivational quotes or I'll listen to affirmations or whatever the case may be. So the reason why I can give is because my tank is overflowed. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Operating a couple seasons ago from a half tank and wondering why I kept running out, why I wasn't being consistent, why I wasn't on my team.
Look at that.
My tank wasn't full. I can't get to the next location because the tank was empty. Like,
there you go.
You can't ride with me and your car ain't even filled, bro. Like, what were you supposed to do? So cool. It's my season. Boom. What we gonna do? Write every morning. Put out a Friday episode. Do you want to film it? No. Do you want to write? No. Do you feel it? Push through it. Say something. Say 2 words. You got 2 words? Say 2 more. Okay, cool. You got 4 words. Can you say 6 more?
Yeah.
And a lot of times too, Seth Godin said it once in a video that was hella profound. He was like, no one gets talking block. They get writer's block. And you get writer's block because you're like putting so much weight on the things that you're creating, coming up with. So he was like, record it. Say it. Sometimes when I'm writing, I'm just talking. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, what kind of motivation did I tell myself? Hey, this morning I was thinking, I don't always, call my friends back like I should. I don't know, maybe I'm lazy. I don't know, maybe it's this. Yeah. But in reality, I just think that I'm just not putting enough effort into my, and boom, I am just talking things out. So when you read my stuff, it sounds like me. And if you know me, you're like, okay, that's Nemo all day.
Yep.
And so I'm not doing, and then once again, it's what's my main goal? It's to encourage people. So all the consistency, all the books I'm reading, all the content I'm consuming, all the scriptures, all the pastor sermon, like all that stuff. But now I'm sitting in front of somebody who's crying their eyes out, and what the hell do I do? And for some reason, I'm the only one around, the only one seeing this person crying. What's going on?
Yeah.
So talk to me. Well, I just been going through a lot, and I just lost my mom, and times is just hard, and like, I don't feel like anybody, understands what I'm going through. And I'm like, in my first season of life, I lost my mom. Season 1, Nemo's story. Hey, man, I feel you, man. I lost my mom, too. Lost her to breast cancer. I know how you feel. I don't need to say nothing epic. Yeah. I know how you feel.
Yeah.
Let them keep talking.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just, I got so many dreams and goals, and like, I really want to get them out there, but, I don't think I have what it takes, and... Yeah. I hear you. That was season 2. I'm not saying this, but season 2, chasing my dream. Okay, I know how you feel. It's a struggle, right? It's tough waking up some days. It's you're crying, you feel lonely, you feel abandoned. As a creative, you beat yourself up, and they're like, "Dang, you feeling me?"
Yeah.
But that was season 2, and then season 3 was I started the business and ended up sleeping on my boys' couches and going through all this other stuff. And so I meet another kid. It's like, man, I'm trying to grow this business, but I'm on people's couches right now. I'm like, I barely got any food to eat. Mm-hmm. That was season 3. Hey, man, look. I know what it's like to be, everything seasons. Then I run into somebody. I literally gave someone some advice a couple months back about professionalism that it was 2018. I made a huge, I don't want to say mistake, but back in college, I did something like just not professional of me.
Okay.
And I really got checked, and I really got called on it.
Sure.
And that was like sophomore, junior year, so I was maybe 19, 20. I'm 31, because it was last year, so I was 31, dropping insight on some kid about how to conduct himself and why people might have assumed his situation was the way it was, because I can recall back to my 20-year-old self. Maybe that was season 4 where I messed up. And that season 4 from a decade ago is now the same motivation that I'm giving this kid. So that me thinking of those moments, I look for the signs, I look for these kind of experiences, and that's going to be the next episode of my show.
Nice.
Or this sign that I saw as I'm passing by, it said, "You got this." Next episode, you got this. And so now I'm training myself to look for the hints. Cool. Oh man, I'm watching this basketball game, and Kawhi Leonard, like, this brother got heart, man. Wow, he put up the last jump. It went in. Sometimes you just gotta believe in yourself. Boom, next episode. Sometimes you just gotta believe in yourself. And that's it. I'm looking for, like, if you
You stay on it. I see.
Back. So everything is me, like, how does this contribute to Foolies Fridays? How does this get back to me encouraging people? How does this get back to me motivating people? And I surround myself. That's why I got superheroes all around my room. I think about it like this. If I wake up and I look at my wall and the superheroes are looking at me, that means it's time for me to do something. I can't look at them and hope they save me. It's time for me to go out and save them. I got Post-it notes all over my wall. Like, it's just, I'm in it. And I'm in it. I'm living. I'm breathing it. I'm remembering stories from friends, families. I have a lot of discussions with people. Mm-hmm. I'm taking all the things that they're saying to me, and sometimes I'm not giving advice. I'm not giving feedback. I'm just listening. Mm-hmm. Dang. So people are feeling lonely. They're not encouraged. They don't feel the motivation. Mm-hmm. Struggling. They're battling with anxiety. Man, they got issues. Dang. Mom ain't there. Dad. So if you're feeling like right now your mom ain't in your life and she don't care about you, your daddy ain't there, you're feeling lonely, if you get anxiety, if you're battling, boom. And this is just me taking the conversation. Mm-hmm. I just want you to know that you were put here for a reason. That's you're saying that's the next episode. Damn. And then an email, hey, you probably don't think you've been put here for a reason, but let me tell you, I get it. Funds are low. No money in the bank account. You at zero. Boyfriend left you. Girlfriend dumped you. Kids acting up. You got this. Mm. So I'm looking for the signs, and so I made a T-shirt company. It was packed with motivation. I'm creating all the signs. I'm creating all the visuals. Like, there's going to be no reason you don't get hit with something, and that's just my goal. Once again, I want to encourage people. So you're going to get a video. You're going to get a podcast. You're going to get a quote. You're going to get a visual. You're going to get a text message. I text people. I hit them up. They, you know our relationship. Yep. We've been at it for years. And, like, my mom left this earth not living out her dream. You know what I'm saying? She wanted to be, she was a cosmetologist. She left her nursing career, so she got to her dream, but she wanted to open up her own hair salon. Mm. She didn't get to do that. And so every day I think about who's going to be that person that didn't get the reminder to make it happen, that didn't get the reminder to drop the podcast, drop the book, put out the website, stop holding on to it, because my mom didn't get to carry out her dream. And that's and that is in the graveyard somewhere, and I'm like, that ain't gonna happen to nobody else. So it's a different kind of energy, and the biggest thing is that we're not looking at the stories of everyone else and using that as our inspiration. We feel like if we don't go through it, we can't deliver that message. Sure. Yes, you can. These people that are going through it, tell their story, get their message out, get their voice heard. That's what writing is about. That's what movies are about. For sure. That director ain't write nothing, but the writer, he took his story, took her story, he brought it to the surface. Yep. That's all we need to be doing. He doesn't get discredited because he didn't write the book, that he didn't write the movie. Yep. That director is a Michael Bay, a Tarantino, Ava DuVernay. You know, it's all these amazing people now, but they're just the director. Some of them write, but not all of them do. But maybe that was my purpose, to tell your story, to tell the story. Don't need to be from me. I just need to be able to capture it and see your vision and bring it to life. Boom. Maybe I'm just a director. I'm just narrating through all these things and delivering the stories of thousands of dreamers and believers and game changers. And that's it. Might not be that's it, but this is what it is. Sorry I'm ranting, but
No, not at all. What I don't want to do is I don't want to dull what you said, because again, man, this is, I know we get a lot of these gems when we talk to each other, but this was great. I really don't. I don't want to take away from anything that you said. All I can say is I'm incredibly encouraged, man. I wouldn't have thought of things in the way that you do for how you deliver. What I will say is that the way that you look at life and how you look for inspiration all the time. Your radar is on all the time for inspiration. I think that that's something that is very, very fundamental. It's also something that is very simple. A lot of us don't do that. A lot of times we have distractions, and we have, whether it's television, whether it's kids, whether it's church or work or friends and spouses or whatever life throws at us, and we'll use those distractions to negate us from using those scenarios to continue to do what we want to do, or what we're here to do. And the way that you described, like looking at every situation, looking at everything that you see as an example, or as motivation, or as inspiration, or as content for you to deliver on, week after week, man. That I never would have thought of it that way. But you put it down in such a easy to understand in terms of episodes. Like, it's not hard necessarily, you know what I'm saying? But the way that you put it to make it so simple, I was like, yeah, brilliant. Just was. Yeah. So I want to keep it at that. I don't want to cheapen that. I don't want to water that down. So for everybody that is watching that, that made it to this part, thank you guys for watching. What I want to do is, Alex, tell everybody where they could find you, where they could find, all of your merchandise, where they could find you on socials and things like that in case they want more inspiration, and everything. Let them know where to find you, man.
Thefoolies.com. That's the website. And you can sign up for our email list and everything on that platform. At Foolies on Instagram. And then Facebook has a friend limit, which is kind of lame. So I'm at 5,000 friends. I've been on Facebook since the beginning of the time. So I have a lot of friends. But there's a max limit. So I need to go through and remove people, to be honest, so I can make new friends. I don't know.
Some kind of audit.
But you can add me on Facebook. You can also add me on Messenger, because you can literally just add people on Messenger.
Nice.
So if you want to just reach out to me, then Alex Nemo Hans. But yeah, I'm this way all the time. So,
I'm glad
sorry,
you are.
Not sorry.
No need to be sorry, man. I'm glad you are. It's a rare when you find somebody. For me, you're a light bulb.
Well,
you just are.
That.
You just are, man. So thanks for being on. I truly appreciate you. Thank you for
no,
don't turn it off. Yeah, no, stay on. Stay on.
Drawstrings.
Stay on.
About that drawstring. Well, yeah, like both drawstrings.
Yeah, we got it. We got it. We'll probably see. Knowing you, you'd be like, "Yo, this is the part where you add the sound effect of the drawstring." That's where you put that in there. So. No, man, but thanks for being on, man. I truly appreciate you. This has been very, very special, and I appreciate the time. We'll catch you guys again next time. See you later.